informative discussion on how your home may change as a result of COVID-19. I'm Mulrooney. I'm a partner at Zetlin and Chiara, a construction boutique law firm where I specialize in negotiating and drafting a full range of agreements for the design and construction of projects on behalf of owners of all types, as well as design professionals. Joining me today is world-renowned architect Juergen Riehm, who's co-founder of 1100 Architect. Juergen has spearheaded many well-regarded projects across numerous sectors, including cultural, healthcare, educational, and most notably for our discussion today, the luxury residential renovation market as well. So welcome, Juergen.
Welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so I've had the privilege of working with Juergen on several projects over the last couple of years on the very high end of apartment renovations in New York City. We have been working on a project that was during the start of COVID and have had many discussions on what we're experiencing. So I thought that it would be really great to share those experiences with everybody, with our clients and colleagues and participants in the residential luxury renovation market. So, so I'm going to ask Juergen a series of questions, and we'll take a look at how what design trends we're seeing in luxury residential renovations as a result of COVID-19. I know one thing that we all can relate to is that we've been spending an inordinate amount of time in our homes. Our homes have taken on many new roles. They become our offices, our children's classrooms, our gyms, on top of all the other needs that we need our home to meet. So Juergen, I'd love to get your thoughts on what you think or what you are seeing to be the biggest design trends resulting from people spending more time in their homes and the varying new ways that they're using their homes.
Well, one of the adjectives which come immediately to mind, not that that was not a topic before the pandemic, but in terms of, as you said, the use of our home for multiple functions as classrooms as well as workspace. The aspect of adaptability and flexibility in the home is one of the key components and aspects to consider in design. I think, as we all know, open more loft-like layouts provide not as much privacy and acoustic separation, which may be needed for multiple uses at the same time, so that disturbance between the different functions within the home can be provided with. So that is one of the main aspects we have seen and topics to consider in the new design, so that it, without necessarily giving up an open layout, but I think providing provisions for closing rooms off, have adaptability in rooms uses, be it, for instance, a bedroom, which can both provide sleeping quarters, but also a workspace for a person. All of those are consideration one really has to be aware of and find solution for it. The other aspect we have been really focusing on is the aspect of air quality within the space and how that can be incorporated and be enhanced so that fresh air is being provided, and also through mechanical means maybe provide for actually air filtration and sanitization to provide a very comfortable indoor air quality throughout the apartment. So there are a lot of solutions for that. I think also the whole transition from the more public spaces within a building into the apartment is another aspect people would like to have resolved. And as it was in a traditional apartment, yeah, you had a foyer, you had, or in a house, you may have a mudroom. And I think in apartments, that is probably also one of the things one would want to have, so that there's a transition between the public areas of a building into the more private home of the occupants.
Yeah, you mentioned apartments, and I'm curious because I know you do a lot of apartment renovations, but you also do a lot of work on homes outside of urban areas in the country and in the suburbs. So, you know, how are the changes people need kind of the same in both, and what areas are they different? I'm assuming in the city, trying to separate public and private, and you know, having in smaller spaces, having people on phones and doing lessons. I'm sure that's probably even more heightened need to kind of create space.
Certainly, I think to answer your question, there's a lot of similarities there, but in terms of solutions, you have more opportunity, outside of the city with a freestanding house. You don't have lobbies for common use. You can control that in the design much more easily. And the other major difference, I would say, is with the freestanding house outside of an urban environment, has the benefit of the outdoors. And that is, of course, limited in apartment living. Not to say that people not often have terraces or balconies for outdoor use. And those are definitely also beneficial for a comfortable way of living and finding a relief to feeling confined within your own apartment. But at houses, you have way more opportunities to utilize as well outdoor living in a major way. And as we all know from the reading up on risk factors and fresh air and ventilation seem to be a key role in preventing that.
Right. And in terms of various people having a lot of different Zoom meetings, and are there design solutions to kind of, you know, help buffer out sounds and create more private spaces?
Well, I think as I mentioned earlier, I think the whole aspect of acoustics become a major component in the design. And at the same time, we always try to find solutions which can be flexible or adaptable so that separations can occur, acoustic separation. But when the family, let's say, is together and one wants to have a more open environment, doors could open and provide for a more fluid, easy transition from one room to the other. But I think those are all details one would have to be carefully examined so that the proper separation can be provided for the more isolated private working within those rooms. I mean, it's all, of course, dependent on what you have available. So, and again, to designing a house outside the city, you have much more opportunity there to be flexible. But in New York, dealing with existing buildings, there are some limitations what can be achieved and what not. Likewise as well with any kind of mechanical HVAC equipment, there are a lot of limitations quite often occurring. So one has to really go into detail how to best resolve and find a solution for that.
Right, right. Yeah, I could imagine some buildings might have just limitations in terms of, you know, what the building structure allows for mechanics.
Correct. Yeah.
I know spending more time in my home, I'm making a list of all the things that I want to change and fix, especially now that I'm working remotely more often. What do you see for your clients as what they are, you know, kind of prioritizing and putting the biggest investment into when they're considering changes they want to make?
Well, I think I would say that the key element there is probably the air quality and improvement on that, because that is also something one really can, even without a pandemic, benefit from. And I think that is one of the things people are mostly interested in, to take that out of the equation and provide for a better HVAC system or ventilation system, which treats the air, and so that within the apartment one is isolated and protected, and it's under your control. I think in terms of layout changes and accommodation for a mudroom, those are aspects, of course, people would like to incorporate. But again, if you're having an existing apartment, to accommodate that is fairly disruptive and might have a trigger effect for many other things. So I think there it's part of a design exercise to find the proper solution. And as you often do in any of the designs, one has a menu of a list of items one wants to accomplish, and then one can prioritize it. Yeah, I think, as we all know, building in the city comes with all sorts of approval processes, and one wants to get things as well done fairly quickly and cost effective. So there we often evaluate solution as well in terms of a menu choice and how far you want to go, and so that one can really make best investment for the best and feasible outcome.
Great, great. I know there's a lot of anxiety and negativity and tough times with COVID-19. So trying to look on the bright side of things. What are some positive things that you see happening in the residential sector as a result of COVID? Kind of what bright lines do you see in terms of design trends or things that will moving forward from here?
Well, I think, and speaking more as well my own and personal experience, having now working from home for the past 6 months, I think it's somewhat of the appreciation and value I find in terms of having a home I feel comfortable in, and or where the environment of your home provides you with not only shelter, but also your possibility for a space which provides comfort in a mental way. And I think in terms of the design and the aspect of wellness, to have an apartment which has different possibilities of environments. So yeah, there's maybe the work environment, there's the resting environment, there is the contemplative environment. and there's just simply the soothing environment. And I think to really appreciate that more and have that become more into focus, as we all have busy lives and feel anxiety and all these factors come about, to have then a home which really feels and that it is comfortable and a shelter and an atmosphere where everybody is really feeling better and
Right.
not
Yeah.
only driven by anxiety. I think that is one of the things which I find quite rewarding and something to cherish.
Right, right. Your home as a sanctuary to all the
Correct. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's interesting because I hosted a panel on kind of changes coming to the office space, and there, one of the positives that the panelists felt coming out of this was this emphasis on wellness, and it seems that that's kind of in the residential space too, as well. And I think you were talking about air quality and just things along those lines, but I do see that as one real positive moving forward, is this emphasis on wellness and people really paying attention to these things when they're designing and renovating and updating their homes.
Correct. And I think as well, one of the lot of requests we had as well, to have a space in your home which can provide you as well with an area for exercise, physical, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be a gym per se, but I think something where you feel you can take a walk, or you can do yoga or other exercises. So I think all of those are elements one wants to not only be aware of, but integrate it, so that environments and change from one use to the other are made possible.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Okay, so just in wrap up, as we emerge, we still are in kind of in limbo here. Some people are back at work, some people are still remote work, and kind of may go on indefinitely. But so as we emerge from this, what do you see as the most significant lasting effects that this pandemic will have on the luxury high-end residential renovation market, and maybe both inside the city and outside the city? Maybe going from the city to outside the city is one of those effects, but
and I think that as we have seen a trend there already, is that people seeking second homes outside of the city, or in some cases where people already had that, moving their family out of the city without giving up their apartment in the city. I think that's one of the effects which will be felt, and I think it's a good thing, and if people can afford to have a second home and have the opportunity to be able to live in both the city as well as outside, that is certainly something which we can already see happening. And the other thing is, as we started in terms of how one can improve and be prepared for other pandemics, as we never know. Even if we get COVID-19 resolved, it's a whole aspect of being prepared as well for any other eventuality. And there, I think also as a more overarching thing, the aspects of other disasters and environmental changes, we all need to find a solution in architecture who are more environmental conscious and responsible, and so that we all contribute to the changes in our environment and lives in a responsible way.
Right, right. I know we're both speaking from New York City right now. What do you think for the city? What do you see as a significant lasting impacts for city apartment and townhouse design moving forward?
I think really focusing on adaptability of your home, so that it can both function in a lockdown environment, but also without feeling that you're kept captive, and still have that be in an environment we can appreciate in those extreme conditions. And it's a bit easier in a home outside of the city, but even there it becomes more of an issue about having enough storage room for provisions you want to keep, and in case of emergencies, and be connected to the outside world, which was one of the things also which has been a topic in particular as well. As we all have now been working from home, connectivity is on the technological side a whole other aspect. Not that that was not existing before, but in the city, I mean, the network is a bit stronger. I have a house outside of the city where in that area, connectivity is a little bit limited. So all of those are things to also be aware of, so that in case of emergency, one has the able connection to people from the outside.
Yeah. So there are a lot of positive changes.
Exactly.
We're better connected, we're going to be healthier, and we're going to have our home, fitting our needs, because we put a lot more thought into.
Yeah, I think in just to be also much more aware of those aspects, which have come now more into focus, and so that we are not expecting that to be just given to us, but something we have to really think about.
Right. Well, that was very insightful and a lot of great ideas. I think that one positive is people's homes are really going to be such a special space for them, and hopefully a sanctuary in these uncertain times. But that's very informative and insightful, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Do it again, and then about one of the other many areas.
Okay. Thank you very much.